Hello and a good afternoon to you if you're joining us live for the first time today for MXGP. It's the 5th round of the FIM MX2 Motocross World Championship. We're at Valkenswaard in the Netherlands for the MX2 Grand Prix of Europe. We're situated about 90 miles south of the country's capital, Amsterdam. And in MX2, Jeffrey Hurlings on the Red Bull KTM factory racing machine arrives here as the clear favourite after his dominant run of 5 consecutive victories since 2010, going unbeaten in 10 motos. But he's failed to win in the last 2 Grand Prix of 2015. He'll be looking at picking up win number 46 today if he's successful here. Dylan Ferrandis and Jordi Tixier proved over the past couple of years that they can make it onto the podium. But will they have anything for the Sandman Jeffrey Hurlings today, who will want to keep his immaculate win record intact? Don't be surprised to see Tim Geiser, Pauls Jonas, maybe even Julian Liebert, Max Anstey mixing it up for a podium place as well. But Tim Geiser, of course, had a big crash yesterday in qualifying. He's out on the track, though. He's patched up. He's ready to go on that Garibaldi Honda. And the now one-time Grand Prix winner will be looking to get through this without too many more scrapes. But the 1,550-metre long circuit is pretty gnarly, pretty chewed up. After all the European Championship action we've had on track and all of yesterday's action as well, only the jump faces get fixed. The rest of the track is just like a minefield. But before we go any further, though, we're going to take a quick look behind the scenes at one of the smaller teams in the paddock, Sakar Racing. They're run on KTMs. And let's take a look at that right now.
I'm joined by Lauri Rosiorg, team manager of Sakar KTM Racing Team. We're going to find out a little bit about their setup. Lauri, first off, tell us a bit about the history of the team.
I'm already to motocross 12 years, and before that we ride only in Baltic states. Then we start riding in European championships, and after that it started like.
So you've got the 3 riders. What are the personalities of each rider on the track and off the track?
When they riding in soccer, then I think they're good guys. Iago he was very good in '85, and Karel and Hardy they ride before they ride in Estonia and Baltics, and now they try to ride in European and in World Championships.
So I guess having your son in the team and you managing him, that helps as well.
It's maybe a little bit difficult when something not good in the track and to say him, but it's okay.
So the team originates from Estonia. Do you find that you have more challenges because of that and you're not actually based in the heartland of motocross, say Belgium?
Yeah, it was difficult first year when we came to find supporters and to find some parts and everything. But when more and more years, we have more friends and we have more supporters and then people who help us. And then now it's 3rd years and it's very good.
So for people that don't know the name Sakar, it's actually a motocross track, isn't it? So tell us about that.
Yeah, we have Sakar as home track in Estonia. It's Lange Motokeskus and it's exactly in the middle of Estonia. It's 200 kilometers from Tallinn. It's good track. Couple of teams last year when they came from Sweden GP and they go to Kegums, then they can train in our track, and we have everything. We have water and electricity and everything in that track. And yeah, it's good because in 2017 we have Junior World Championships is in that track.
And this year, of course, the FIM Junior World Championship will take place in Spain in July. Right, Lisa Leyland is down on the grid and she's with quite an important guest.
Hello and welcome
welcome to the start of a very busy MX2 grid. Now I'm joined by someone who's not from MX2, who's from World Superbikes. It's Michael van der Mark. Congratulations on your podium last weekend in Assen, and it's a pleasure to have you here, Michael. But talking about podiums, being young, what do you think it was like when Tim Geiser got his podium last weekend in Italy? I mean, you must know what that feels like.
Yeah, it's amazing, especially for a young guy who has so much talent and always wants to win. And I was really happy for him to win because I met him last year, and yeah, he was so young, and to see him growing in the sport is amazing.
And to have that first win, how does that change your mentality going forward throughout the season?
Well, for me, last year with my first win, you have the feeling that you can do it, and it keeps you in the flow, and I think that's with Tim the same.
So who's your money on for today?
Well, of course I have to support the Dutch riders as well, but I'm really supporting all the Honda riders, and Tim did really great last weekend, so yeah, just wait and see. I think everybody can win.
Thanks, Michael. Enjoy your day. Now, over here, somebody who knows what the podium's like is Jeffrey Hurlings. Jeffrey, how are you feeling about today? Because you're back in the home soil, sand, different from being hard pack in Italy. So are you feeling confident? It's your home track.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's always good to be home. I had a good day yesterday, got pole position for today, so just the main thing is stay out of trouble, get a good start, and do what we have to do. So, you know, the track is perfectly prepared. It's pretty rough, and that's the way I like it. And as I said, just have to stay out of trouble and do our best, and we'll see how it goes.
Do you still feel the pressure here? Because it is your home track. You've got all your fans behind you. You've won here before. You're known to be great in the sand. Does that ever get to you, that pressure on your shoulders?
Yeah, definitely. You know, for sure, when I go to bed like last night, I know a lot of people come to watch me and to see me winning, but you know, it's not always that easy, but I'll go out, do my best, and I've won it 5 times in a row, so hope to make it a 6th. As I said, it's not over until it's over, but we're looking good so far.
And finally, we actually can't miss you at all, because what's going on down here is like very bright boots, Jeffrey. What's all that about? They're new, aren't they, for this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, always I'm the king of the sand, so I was like, yeah, let's make something special, but it's a little bit cocky, but I mean, it looks pretty cool, you know, for one, so hope to not disappoint the fans and go out winning, because if you're not winning with those color boots, you know, it's a little bit of shame, so yeah. Put some extra pressure, but for me it was just kind of a joke, even though people putting pressure on me, but we'll do our best.
You've got to try and get the whole shot now so you don't get those dirty.
Yeah, same with the white gear, you know, I don't want to get it dirty.
Good luck, Jeffrey, thank you. Time now for the MX2 Championship standings.
Good to see Jeffrey Hurlings in a good, relaxed frame of mind there. But Jeffrey Hurlings does lead the championship by 13 points over Dylan Ferrandis, and 26 further back is Pauls Jonas, his teammate. So a lot to play for still, as he said. We're only 4 rounds in. This is round 5. Tim Geiser, 4th after his victory a week ago in Trentino. And then Julian Lieber is 5th, Valentin Guillot 6th, Jeremy Seewer, Alex Tonkoff, Thomas Covington and Jordi Tixier now up into 10th after his performance a week ago in Italy as well. Petr Petrov is 11th, Anstey 12th, Patrol Borges and Ivo Monticelli round out the top 15.
Max Anstey, riding for the DRT Monster Kawasaki squad. Anstey, the Brit who's raced here in the Netherlands many, many times when he was a youngster. He was in 5th place in front of Jens Gederman 6th, Dylan Ferrandis, teammate to Tixier, the other Frenchman in 7th, Brian Bogus, fantastic.
Well, here's what happened in the qualifying race in MX2 on Saturday afternoon.
And Vasily Rylikov in 10th place.
On board with Valentin Guillot as he rocketed down at the start, but it was Alexander Tonkoff who pulled the whole shot. Jeffrey Hurlings was right there with him, followed by Pauls Jonas as they went through the first few corners. The Kawasaki's were well placed as well, but it was a great recovery despite the poor jump from Guillot. Managed to get himself inside the top 5 or 6. Tim Geiser and Dylan Ferrandis almost had to come together. Tonkoff briefly found his way back past Hurlings after Hurlings found a way through early on the first lap, but it wasn't long before Hurlings was back into the lead. Valentin Guillot, though, was doing a great job hanging in there in 5th place on his standing constructs Yamaha. Jeffrey Hurlings, once he was in the lead, started to pull clear of Tonkoff, Ferrandis, Jonas, Guillot and Geiser, as Jordi Tixier, recovering from a poor start, suddenly found himself on the back of that group as well in around 7th position as the rain started to fall by about lap 4. Jeffrey Hurlings, though, had just one thing on his mind, trying to pull clear and stay out of trouble, give himself the best opportunity for a pole position. Tonkoff was well placed there in 2nd. As you can see, all the way at the back, number 1, Jordi Tixier, just starting to close in on that lead group. Hurlings making it look so easy. And having a great ride on that 2016 Husqvarna was Tonkov. Tim Geiser was ahead of the number 1 of Tixier. Max Anstey went after Brian Borgers, and that got him up into, well, eventually 5th place for Max Anstey. Max Anstey, of course, riding the DRT Monster Energy Kawasaki, Steve Dixon's based UK-based team. Valentin Guillot got caught napping here, as just to his right-hand side, number 1, Jordi Tixier, found his way through. That put him up into 5th as he went after the likes of Dylan Ferrandis and, of course, Paul Jonas as well. And a little bit later on in the race, Alexander Tonkov. Just saw a glimpse of Tim Geiser. He was happy circulating in 6th with that lead group. He made a couple of mistakes, so lost a little bit of ground. It was to get worse for the Slovenian, the Grand Prix winner of Trentino a week ago, because he had a big crash through the rhythm section towards the finish line. He supermaned himself out of the sky, and his bike was, well, a little bit written off, to say the least. But he will ride in the main race today. Hurlings was on a mission, and he was clear at the flag by a nice, comfortable margin. Tonkov came over the line in 2nd. Tixier was 3rd, Jonas 4th, Max Anstey 5th. But Tixier still couldn't find a way past the 59 of Tonkov as the rain started to disperse. Jens Getterman having a great ride on the number 51. JTech Honda having his best qualifying since he's been an MX2 rider. He came home in 6th, but it was an easy win in the end for Hurlings. And Hurlings will start from pole. And there are the gold Alpine Star boots of Jeffrey Hurlings. We heard he was going to be wearing white and gold. I wasn't sure if it was going to be white and gold Alpine Star clothing and boots, or just the boots, but there you see, just the boots. But Hurlings will start from pole. Tonkov, 59 over there on the left, will start from 2nd. Jordi Tixier will line up 3rd. There he is on the Monster Energy Kawasaki racing team machine, the defending champion with the number 1. Paul Jonas alongside him, look to the left, number 41, was 4th in the qualifying race, and Max Anstey, you'll see a glimpse of him somewhere as well, number 99 was 5th. Jens Getterman, 51, just there on the left. He was 6th in the qualifying race. That's how they all line up. And then Dylan Ferrandis dropped back from 3rd to 7th in the end, ahead of Brian Borges on the HSF Logistics Motorsport KTM. Valentin Guillot, standing construct Yamaha, and Sever Brilyakov, 2nd of the JTech Hondas. Good qualifying for this guy yesterday, Jens Getterman. He knows he just needs to stay relaxed and stay focused in order to get a decent result here in the first race, to take the pressure off in race 2.
The title from him last year, the number 1 is former teammate Jordi Tixier from France.
The next 2 riders line up onto the grid then, getting ready for their first of 2 30-minute plus 2-lap races. Tim Geiser, Honda Garibaldi, the winner of the Grand Prix of Trentino a week ago. Pietro Murata had a big crash in qualifying yesterday. He is more than a little bit second-hand. They've been able to repair the bike, but they're just patching up Tim Geiser today, just to get him through the weekend. He will start right over on the right-hand side, so already setting himself up at a disadvantage coming into this first race. So if he can get a good start and hang it out through there, then he should be fine. But as Benoit Pacharel, one of the last riders to make his way to the line, lines up. In fact, the last rider. We are moments away from the gate dropping here in MX2 race 1. Remember, the championship at the moment looks like this. Jeffrey Hurlings 13 points clear of Dylan Ferrandis. Jeffrey Hurlings, as you saw there, will start right at the inside. This is how they qualified. This is the riders, how they're lined up on the gate. We just went through that a moment ago. Same as they qualified on Saturday, but Ingo Parch, our FIM race director, brings the riders under starters' orders. We're getting ready to go race, and the 15-second board has gone up. That'll turn to 5 any moment now, right at the centre of the gate. We just saw the 919, Ben Watson. 5 seconds to go. Gate drops, a great jump for Hurlings up the inside, but has he got control? I think he might have been eclipsed there by the 59 of Alexander Tonkov. Tonkov pulls the foxhole shot as he crosses the line, coming out of the chicane. And right next to him No, it's Hurlings. Hurlings right there and already leading the way. So Jeffrey Hurlings striking immediately on the first lap, finding a way past Tonkov. Then it's Tixier, then Jonas, then possibly Anstey, then Borges, then Guillot. Then as they come up over the hill, Siwa, Getterman in 9th, Brilyakov in 10th. As how close was that between the 41 of Jonas and the number 1 of Tixier. Petrov in 12th, Covington 13th, Lieber 14th, Ferrandis 15th, Pacharel, Van Donnick, Just, Lundgren, Booker in points in 20th place as the riders make their way round this lap. Karel Kutsar is just out of the points ahead of Kevin Fors, Artem Guriev, Ivan Monticelli, Harry Kulas, Christopher Vallant, Grady Featherston, and Geiser right at the back. So did he go down on the first turn? Tim Geiser on that Garibaldi Honda. Well, the sun out. Oh, Ben Watson. Well, his bike's been swimming. Replay. Right, so Tim Geiser getting squeezed. He goes on. Oh, and that was a big moment there. That was Ben Watson taking a swim on the Hitachi Revo KTM. Back with the leaders. Hurlings through. He's 3 seconds clear of the 59 of Alexander Tonkov. On the Wilvo. Nastan Husqvarna takes a look over his shoulder, and Tim Geiser also getting caught up in the pond moment there at turn 1, but Tonkov there second. Paul Jonas is third. Jordi Tixier. Kawasaki is fourth. Max Anstey right behind him in fifth. Borges in 6th. Jeremy Siwa is 7th. Valentin Guillot. Oh! How lucky was that for the number 41 of Jonas? Got it completely out of shape, landed towards the bank, lost his footing immediately. How he used his upper body strength there to maintain that position in the race in third. And such is a rider's mentality. As soon as it happens, out of the mind, just like that. Just watch this. Jonas gets in a little bit long. The back end loses ground, and then he is just a passenger at that point. Gets it all back together, rejoins the race as if nothing's happened. And he's right there back in third. So Tixier fourth as Hurlings looking at setting the fastest lap of the race. He's gone 27.993 at the first split, 26.1 at the second, decimating the opposition at the moment, already towards the end of this next straight here. There's Tixier and Anstey, number 1 and 99. 4th and 5th place for those two guys. Then we've got Brian Borges, HSF Logistics Motorsport, KTM, right around the outside in white, the number 189. And then in the background, the yellow Rockstar Energy Suzuki, the number 91 of Jeremy Siwa. Then the 92 of Valentin Guillot on the standing construct, Yamaha. Clouds looking a little bit ominous to the left, coming in from the west. Rain is forecast at some point this afternoon, and Jonas not so lucky this time around. And another big moment. Well, that whole section has been catching riders out all weekend long. Paul Jonas, oh, he got pitched out of the seat and then just nowhere to go. Oh, that is a big moment there for Jonas. He was ragdolled down the track there. So Hurlings leads now from Jordi Tixier. Tixier goes into second, so while Jonas was having his moment, Tixier found a way past the number 59 of Alexander Tonkov and goes into second position. So it'll be interesting to see what Jordi Tixier can do, but almost off the back as well for the number 59 of Alexander Tonkov. He's in third, the 99 of Max Anstey. On the second of those Kawasaki's, the Green Machines in fourth, looking interested at going past the Russian around the outside, and looks to make it happen at the bottom of the hill here. Using a different line around the outside. Momentum, the order of the day for Anstey. Oh, neatly jumping up onto the top of the hill there, onto that plateau, and equally impressive through there as well. Boys at KTM just making sure that he's okay. Dirk Grubel there, the technical director on the right-hand side, and also the MX2 team manager. That was a big crash there. You just saw it straight out the front almost, and then the back end came around and, yeah, down the track backwards. Heavy landing as well. Wouldn't be surprised if he's got a bit of a whiplash injury, but he is wearing one of those neck braces as well, so that would have minimized any of that Tonkov swinging from one side of the track to the other as Tixier goes second. Anstey goes third. Tonkov being pushed back to fourth on the Wilvo-Nastan Husqvarna factory machine there, the white machine, the first of those two white machines, because the one behind him, the 189, Brian Borgers, on the HSF Logistics Motorsports KTM, having a great ride in 5th place. Jeremy Seward is 6th. Guillot 7th. Replay of the start coming up. Right, watch this. They start to bunch. Geiser on the left-hand side in red. Oh, we just caught a different angle of it there. Right, who goes swimming here? It was Ben Watson over the bars and straight into the lake, into the pond. And that's his bike being fished out. Apparently Geiser also went in, but his bike didn't, and he's rejoined the race. And Tim Geiser now 23rd. Two Kawasaki's, 2nd and 3rd. Monster Energy Kawasaki Racing Team, the official team in MX2. Jordi Tixier in 2nd position, and the DRT, Dixon Race Team, Monster Energy Kawasaki of Max Anstey, number 99, closing in fast on the rear of the Frenchman, Jordi Tixier. These two fighting over 2nd and 3rd position. Another fastest lap of the race for Jeffrey Hurlings, a 1:51.1 compared to the 54.9 of Tixier and a 54.967 of Anstey, who is looking not impatient, but just looking for a way through on the Frenchman. Tonkov still 4th, Borgers 5th. Different line for Anstey around the outside. Trying to slingshot his way around. Max Anstey goes high and wide. In the berm, takes a casual look over his shoulder just to see where the threat is, and Borgers has found his way up the inside of 59. Alexander Tonkov, so Brian Borgers up into 4th place. So Max Anstey, who was 11th overall here last year with a 6th in the first moto, has had a podium race finish with a 3rd and a 6th, got him 4th overall in 2013. Very well placed at the moment, and Borgers has been retaken by Tonkov. Tonkov losing the front end through that right part of the chicane there. Going a little bit wide, Borgers up the inside, going to square him off, bottom corner of his screen now. Tonkov just manages to hold on to that 4th position. Borgers there in 5th then, the 189. And then Ferrandis started to close in as well, so the 2nd of the Monster Energy Kawasaki's there. Seward, Rockstar Energy Suzuki, just behind them in the background in yellow. And then Guillot, Getterman, great ride for him in 9th place on the JTEC Honda. Petrov on the Hitachi Revo KTM is 10th for the Bulgarian. Julian Lieber, the Belgian, on the 2nd of the standing Yamahas, is in 11th. Brent Van Donnick on the Kimiya Yamaha is 12th. Then we've got Benoit Paturel, so the just behind Brul Yakov in 14th place. Covington is 15th. Robert Just, Harry Kudas, Monticelli, Kevin Fors and Jordan Booker still in the points in 20th place. Dylan Ferrandis trying to make up lost ground here. Didn't make a great start. Didn't have a great qualifying race yesterday either. Has been on a podium before in Lierop, of course, 2nd overall in his final outing on a Bud Racing Kawasaki a couple of years ago. And the 2nd rider in shot here, Max Anstey, number 99 on the DRT Kawasaki. There's also one in the sand. Belgian Lommel last year with a race win and a 2nd. Got him his only career Grand Prix victory to date. He knows he's got a tough task trying to go after the number 1 of Jordi Tixier, because he's been on the podium as well in the past. 3rd overall here last year with the 2nd and a 5th. 2nd in 2013 with 2 2nd place finishes, Jordi Tixier. Both times riding KTMs, of course. Things just starting to settle down in this race, but Jeffrey Hurlings, after 4 laps, is already 15 seconds clear of Jordi Tixier here, number 1. And Tixier in 2nd place. Remember, 25 points for a win, 22 for 2nd, 20, 18, 16, 15 and 14, right the way down to 20th, where you pick up 1 World Championship point. That's Jordan Booker at the moment, riding number 140 on his KTM. And there's a wild card rider this weekend, crossing the English Channel from England, making the short 2.5, 3-hour journey from Calais on the northwest coast of France. That's Ferrandis. now starting to reel in the 189 of Brian Borgers. Looking like he's getting into his stride. That was nicely done there from Ferrandis, just pre-jumping his way over the crest. Just carried a little bit more momentum at that part of the racetrack. Just fighting that Kawasaki just a little bit, though, at the bottom of the hill. Having to stand up all the way around this tough Dutch circuit. Let the rear end do all the work. Let the back end soak up all of the bumps. Hurlings, 15 seconds clear, though. At the far end of the circuit, here's Tixier, still hanging on for second. His teammate, though, going after Borgers. That's the move for fifth. Nicely done up the inside. And Ferrandis then moves into fifth position. So after 5 laps of trying, Ferrandis finally goes through. Brian Borgers won't mind too much, though. He's the second highest placed Dutchman. Hurlings, of course, leading the way. Borgers there now in 6th place. And Hurlings only 15.5 seconds clear then after 5 laps. Interesting to see Ferrandis taking a look over to the left to see who's going in the opposite direction. Probably would have seen Tixier, Anstey and Tonkov. Back down the start straight, swinging it all the way to the outside. Dylan Ferrandis and Brian Borgers here on the HSF Logistics Motorsports KTM. He now finds himself in 6th. Jeremy Seawer is 7th. That's him there on the Rockstar Energy Suzuki in yellow. Just behind him, Valentin Guyot. These two seem to have been locked together for the last 2 or 3 years, riding the European Championship in 2013. That, of course, won by the 92 on that blue standing construct Yamaha. KTM mounted at the time, Valentin Guyot. But the guy who pushed him all the way to that title race was the guy ahead of him, number 91, fellow Swiss rider, Jeremy Seawer on the Rockstar Energy Suzuki. Petr Petrov closing in as well, 152 on the Hitachi Revo KTM. The Bulgarian riding the British-based KTM team machine. And he has got Julian Lieber. Ooh, making a move around the outside at the bottom of the hill. I think Lieber may have gone through. No. Lieber definitely looking interested, though, the Belgian. So the 2 standing construct Yamahas right there. The number 92 of Guyot in 8th and Lieber in 10th place. How far are they off of the lead of Hurlings at the moment? About 35 seconds. Lap time's 1:54 for Hurlings. Last time around, he's just crossed the line now. 1:54.2. So we wait for Guyot, just getting a little bit short there, coming into land. Jordi Tixier, is he still leading the way from Anstey, or is it Anstey? Yeah, Tixier, 17 seconds down now, 1:55.8. So 1.6 seconds slower, Jordi Tixier, than Jeffrey Hurlings that time around. Anstey, nothing in it between him. About 8 tenths. There we go. There is the gap between 2nd and 3rd. So Max Anstey, no problems with his sand riding prowess. Anstey arrived here 12th in the championship, having picked up the 7th at the opening race of the year in Qatar before crashing out spectacularly in the second moto. Didn't enter, or didn't even turn up to Thailand because of his injuries. Picked up a 3rd in race 1 in Argentina before hitting the gate and not being able to get that bike fired up into life in the second race in Argentina. 4th and 7th in Italy a week ago. Was not too bad for him. Lieber has found a way past Petrov, just there. And 172, Brent Van Donink is next, the Belgian. So the Kimiya Yamaha Yamalube rider, Brent Van Donink, is next on the radar of the 152 at the top of the hill on the KTM. Just behind them, Seva Brylyakov on the JTEC Honda in 12th place. Jens Getterman, JTEC Honda, is 13th. Benoit Pacharel, Kimiya Yamaha, is 14th. Covington, Monster Energy Kawasaki, is 15th. Then the Heads and All Thread Suzuki of Harry Kulas of Finland, riding as a wild card this weekend. Almost didn't make it here, but decided last minute just to load up the van and get over here. Just fancied an outing in a Grand Prix. Robert Just 17th, Kevin Four, Ivan Monticelli and Tim Geiser now in 20th place. Julian Lieber around the outside of the 91 Suzuki. Hanging off the back of that Yamaha over the Ippon step down. This is the final corner, they're running towards the finish line area. We've got 14.5 minutes plus 2 to go. Back end just catching a hard edge rut. And he triples his way through, lands a bit short, but does he make the pass stick? Yes, he does. Siwa losing ground there. So double, triple is the best way to get through there. Lieber able to do that. Jeremy Siwa not able to. He drops down to 9th now as a result, but he's got the inside line heading down the start straight. He will push Lieber wide and regains a position. Goes in a little bit too deep though, coming out of the first couple of corners. Oh, you can see how he's offline as well here. Big mistake, hit a big hole. Great move there from Lieber. Great bit of riding. He was absolutely committed to that pass there. He realized that Siwa made a mistake. And had Siwa just reacted a little bit quicker, that would have been a big smash between those two riders, but it wasn't. Lieber is right there, back into 8th place. Siwa being pushed back down to 9th, just ahead of him. Well, behind them is Petr Petrov. These two Kawasaki's still duking it out, aren't they? Number 1 and number 99, Tixier and Anstey. Around 18 seconds down on our leader, Jeffrey Hurlings. Just watching Anstey as he comes over that step down, making his way in towards the finish line area. See the little knuckles on top of these jumps here. Just trying to keep an eye on these two as they come through. 2nd and 3rd, absolutely nothing in it. Anstey looking interested here all of a sudden. Anstey looking good though. Yeah, a little bit of steam at the bottom of the Kawasaki there. So possibly signs of a bit of overheating going on Anstey's Kawasaki. Well, 12 minutes plus 2 to go. Just out of the overflow pipe at the bottom. Just as he came through that down the start straight, but he's got Tixier right in his sights at the moment. Up and over the top of the hill. Just have a look at this. Just right out the bottom, out of the overflow. Yeah, nothing to be too concerned with at the moment. Has he gone through? No, he hasn't. Tixier still holding that 2nd place. Anstey just bouncing his way through, has to lock everything up. Slight mistake there from Tixier. Looked like he went in a little bit too deep in that right-hander, but then runs to the inside, defends that inside. Prevents the challenge coming from Max Anstey, but Anstey certainly quicker over this side of the circuit, so he's going to have to dig deep. Nicely done there. Anstey just picking his front wheel up over the last few braking bumps. Carries that momentum down past the inside and into the outside. Nice little slingshot action going on, but you see he probably went about 10 or 15 bike lengths further round that outside corner than Jordi Tixier, and Tixier still about the same distance ahead as he was a lap ago. Back end just getting a little bit out of shape, and again just having to commit there. He was only just over that little triple there. Was that Max Anstey? So Hurlings continues to lead then, 22 seconds clear of Tixier and Anstey. Those two fighting over 2nd place. Tonkov about another 11 seconds further back in 3rd on the Wilvo Nastad Husqvarna factory bike. He's in 4th place. Dylan Ferrandis is now 5th. Teammates the number 1 there, who neatly slots the back marker, Vakishlev Golovkin, right between the two of them, between him and Anstey. Anstey wasted no time on the exit of that turn though, getting through. See how hard Anstey's having to work. Letting that Kawasaki dance around between his legs. Good support here from across the water, across the English Channel for Anstey. Good support from Tixier as well. And Ferrandis now has found a way past Tonkov. Well, that has happened since finish line, because Tonkov Well, he was only half a second in it, so I'm guessing right down into the final corner, possibly before they run down the start straight or even on the start straight. So Tonkov then, 59, being pushed back into 5th position as Ferrandis, number 4, ahead of him on the Monster Energy Kawasaki, gets himself up into 4th. So we've got a KTM, a Red Bull KTM of Jeffrey Hurlings, leading 3 Monster Energy Kawasaki's of Tixier, Anstey, and now Ferrandis there, number 4. Brian Borges about 5 seconds down on Tonkov, in 6th on the HSF Logistics Motorsport KTM. Valentin Guillot 7th, his teammate behind him, Julian Lieber, is 8th. So the 2 standing construct Yamahas line astern there. 9th for the Rockstar Energy Suzuki of Jeremy Seawer, and 10th for the Hitachi Revo KTM of Petar Petrov. Van Donnik is 11th, Jens Getterman 12th, Severbril Yakov is 13th, Covington is still in 14th. And then 15th place for Benoit Pacharel, Harry Koulas 16, Robert Just 17, Kevin 4, Ivo Monticelli and Tim Geiser not really making too much inroads, but after the crash yesterday and another one at the first turn today, he's trying to pick up as many points as possible. That is probably the order of the day for him. Tixier started to break free now from Anstey. Just see there from that, but Anstey wasting no time, getting right back on it. Dropping downhill, Anstey closer than he was probably about a half a lap ago. Tixier just have to lift his leg through the deep ruts at the top of the hill there. Right, Anstey, is he starting to get fired up here? Will he go down the inside? He thinks about it, and makes the move. And the crowd are up over on the bank here, right in front of quite a large contingent of Brit fans. Has time to pull a roll-off or a tear-off as well as he heads over the little camelback crest. So Anstey now up into 2nd on that Monster Energy DRT Kawasaki, number 99. He goes defensive this time as Tixier rails the outside. See how difficult it is when you go too deep to the inside and you're in that 2nd gear. Sometimes you can just get held a little bit down there. Power just doesn't want to kick in like it does when you've got that momentum around the outside, but Anstey managing to resist the challenge from the number 1 of Jordi Tixier.
Jeffrey Hurlings way out in front with just 6 minutes left to go.
So Anstey then now up into 2nd place. He's almost 30 seconds down on Jeffrey Hurlings with just under 7 minutes to go. So Anstey just there. Tixier 3rd. Ferrandis now 4th. Tonkov about 5 seconds adrift of the Frenchman. And again, just like Tixier did a lap or so ago before, Anstey manages to get a back marker between himself and Tixier. But with 6 1/4 minutes plus 2 laps to go, Anstey looking good here for 2nd, but he's 30 seconds down on Jeffrey Hurlings, who continues to lead the way. Tixier's 3rd, Ferrandis 4th, Alexander Tonkov is 5th. Nice line there from Max Anstey, nice and clean all the way up over the crest. As Jeffrey Hurlings goes past the 922 of Kevin Ford and the Robert Just number 95 HSF Logistics Motorsport KTM. Hurlings just in a class of his own, 153.7 last time around compared to the 156.7 of Max Anstey and the 159.1 of Jordi Tixier. That's 6 seconds quicker than Tixier that time around. Really? No, 55.3 this time around as he goes through. So putting a decent lap, then maybe just getting held up that time around. So a 155.3 for Jeffrey Hurlings. Riding the white and gold. White and gold Alpine Star boots. The gold number on the back of the shirt. Heard him on the pre-grid interview. Just look how, if we can follow this guy for a lap, watch how he uses his legs to steer the bike and just soak all the bumps up through the back wheel. And the speed and the commitment in which he's doing it, it really is an impressive demonstration of how this guy gets around the sand. This is like the first lap of the race for him, launching his way down. The speed and the composure of this guy, absolutely incredible. Never flustered. Launching, doubling stuff that shouldn't be doubled. This is just a demonstration of Herlings at his best. Jeffrey Herlings, 4 minutes plus 2 laps to go. We've followed him for the whole lap this time around, giving you at home the opportunity to see Jeffrey Herlings up on the pegs, working the suspension, using his legs, using his body, soaking everything up, and the speed. And just there, using his forearms just to pull up over one or two of the little bumps. Doubles his way here, gets up onto there, tripling over the rhythm section. And his lap time then, a 1:54.2. is 2 and 3 seconds quicker, maybe 4 even than Jordi Tixier. Certainly 2 seconds quicker than Max Anstey last time around. But Herlings just in a class of his own, using his body just to soak everything up. The way that he sees things out on track and how he sees them, how soon he reacts to things. Through this part of the track here, look, wheeling, what, 2, 3, 4 bumps into that little chicane. Takes his time through here, doesn't go too deep into the berm. Soaking it up when he has to. That backhand working overtime, but not as much as some of the other machines out of there. But a 54.2, a 56.5, that's the gap between Herlings and Anstey in terms of lap times. Last time around, they've had 13 laps complete. We've got just under 3 minutes to go. And Max Anstey looking good on that Monster Energy DRT Kawasaki. He's broken free finally to the tune of about 6 seconds on Jordi Tixier. Dylan Ferrandis fourth. Probably about 15 seconds further back. So 3 Kawasaki's, second, third, fourth. Anstey, that's this guy here. Tixier, Ferrandis, Tonkov is in the top 5 position at the moment on his Will Vonastan Husqvarna factory bike. Brian Borges, what a great race for him at home. Then Brian Borges, 15th here last year in MX2 when he was a European 250 Championship regular, entered here as a wild card, got 13th and a 17th. He was 19th the year before that, 25th in the European Championship round here back in 2011. So by far and above is going to be his best performance at home. 14th in the championship, 8th and 9th in the second race in Argentina and the second race in Italy. So it will be a career best MX2 finish for Brian Borges if he stays there. Well, there's no reason why he shouldn't do. There's Brent Van Donnick, 172 going through. He's in 11th place, just behind the Suzuki of Jeremy Siwa, who is in 10th, and Petr Petrov, who's now up into 9th. That's them guys just disappearing around the corner there. There's Getterman, J-Tech, Honda, number 51. The former Belgian MX2 champion. Had a tough couple of seasons through injuries, but managing just to get a good qualifying yesterday. Career best 6th place for him. And he'll be in the points here, just outside the top 10. Well, it's 3 laps to go right now. It's Valentin Guyot, number 92, standing constructs Yamalu. Body just a little bit more hunched over the handlebars. Sitting down in places where maybe Jeffrey Herlings might just be stood up a little bit more. Maybe going a little bit deeper into some of the berms just for that little bit of confidence, perhaps not able to turn off of the harder, smoother stuff, but does okay through there. But Herlings would be still right up through there, throughout the whole section. And then through here, look, just catching a couple of holes. Again, just not as clean. It's just all those little things that all add up. Very difficult to ride the sand. When you see it on TV, this particular racetrack, or Lierop or Lommel, doesn't look that bad. But when you actually get out on track and ride it, and then particularly the deeper tracks like Lommel or Lierop, the sand grabbing the wheels as soon as you shut the power off, it's like trying to ride a mountain bike on the beach, for instance. But here's Jeffrey Hurlings, absolutely decimating the opposition at the moment. Only knows one way, up on the pegs. Even his feet are up on the pegs through there, even if he sat down. But comes through here, picks it up. Look at that wheel tapping. So confident. Turns it nice and short and sharp. Again, bang, 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 all on the back wheel through there. So smooth. Coming up behind Thomas Covington, he's in 14th place on the Monster Energy Kawasaki. Again, launching long through that corner, and you can see the ground he made up immediately on Thomas Covington. Covington already 2 times a 4th place finisher in 2 Grand Prix this year, in Thailand and Argentina. The flare's already starting to burn on this penultimate lap for Jeffrey Hurlings, who's still at this stage of the race. Remember, 30 minutes plus 2 is just riding it as if it was a first lap. Energy in abundance he's had. We've been here on 5 occasions, 2014, 13, 12, 11 and 10. And on every single one of those, Jeffrey Hurlings has been victorious in motos. 10 wins in a row in terms of motos. The first one coming as a 15-year-old in his first year in MX2 competition, which was the 3rd round of the championship that year, which was equally impressive. Beating the likes of Ken Rocks and Marvin Muscat, for instance. Just soaks it up through there, getting ready to take the 1-lap board. Nice and easy through the rhythm section, no risks there. So Jeffrey Hurlings then embarks on his final lap here, MX2 Race 1, the MX2 Grand Prix of Europe here at Valkenswaard. He's led pretty much from, what, turn 2, turn 3. A 1:57.1 lap time the last time around. We'll give you some idea as to exactly how much of a gap he has over Max Anstey after 16 laps of this race. Doubles his way in, keeps it up on the pegs. Again, just sucking up over that mogul in the background there. There is a lot of work going on there, even though he makes it look so easy. His balance and his poise and just the little delicate movements on the foot pegs. Using his upper body, there you go, look at that, landing on the downside. Not afraid to soak things up on the front end either. 40 seconds clear of Max Anstey. We get to see it trackside every time we travel to the MXGPs, of course, when we watch Jeffrey Hurlings, when he's in this kind of form. So we kind of get used to it, but it's still impressive. See how it's just hitting things as if they're not even there. The fans are loving it, though. Doesn't want to disappoint. That bike just hooking up as and how he wants it. Starting to back off a little bit now. Running his way down towards the finish line. Jeffrey Hurlings already starts to celebrate then. The ones with the not so smiley faces, I'm guessing, aren't Dutch, but here's Jeffrey Hurlings. Wheel taps his way. Again, celebrates over the triple, takes the checkered flag. It's a win in moto number 1 for Jeffrey Hurlings and Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. That's 11 wins in a row at this place alone over the last, well, since 2010. So Jeffrey Hurlings, absolutely majestic once again here on the sand of Valkenswaard. There's Max Anstey, number 99, Monster Energy DRT Kawasaki. He's found a way to lap Kim Geiser in 18th place on that Garibaldi Honda. But Anstey getting ready to come through now. This is the final run in towards the final turn. So Anstey took a few laps to find his way past the number 1 of Jordi Tixier. Eventually got through, though. And Anstey will come home for 2nd in race 1. He's pleased with that. He knows he's still got a shot of being on the podium. And we wait for Tixier. But while we wait for him, here's Jeffrey Hurlings with Lisa.
Jeffrey, congratulations. I spoke to you before the race and you actually said you still get nervous, but no need, really.
I mean, I had a good start that really helped me out, you know. I started off second, went into the lead first lap, and from then on could do my own speed, stayed out of trouble, and track is gnarly, but we did a good job. We won the first moto now. Looking forward to the second moto.
Congratulations, thank you.
Even broke into a little bit of a sweat there. Jeffrey Hurlings, 42 seconds, well, 42.8 seconds clear of Max Anstey at the end of 30 minutes plus 2 laps around this tough and treacherous, or gnarly as he referred to it as, Valkenswaard circuit. Hurlings wins race 1, Anstey second, Tixier third, Ferrandis fourth, Tonkov was fifth. An impressive display then from Jeffrey Hurlings as he romps to victory in moto number 1. Anstey second, Tixier third, and Ferrandis fourth. Alexander Tonkov fifth. Brian Borgers was sixth. Julian Lieber seventh. Petr Petrov, Jeremy Seewer, and Brent Van Donnick your top 10. Valentin Guillot dropped to 11th in the end. Jens Getterman was 12th. And it was Sever Brilyakov, Thomas Covington 14th. Harry Kulas 15th, Benoit Paturel 16th. Tim Geiser, brave ride for him in 17th after what he went through yesterday. Robert Just, Kevin Fors, and Ivo Monticelli round out your top 20. But no points for Pauls Jonas, who had a near miss on lap 3 or 4, and then at the end of that lap had another big spectacular get-off. Championship looks like this then. Jeffrey Hurlings, 20 points clear now of Dylan Ferrandis. Jonas stays third, as does Geiser fourth, Lieber fifth, but Tonkov moves up to 6th position. Valentin Guillot loses ground. Tixier now to 9th, pushing Thomas Covington back down to 10th. Still a pretty good atmosphere out here at Valkenswaard as we look at the Manufacturers World Championship. KTM, 32 points clear of Kawasaki. Honda third, Yamaha fourth. Not a lot in between Honda and Yamaha though, just a 1 point. A little bit of track prep work. That's obviously the riders, they come towards us on the left-hand side, over the finish line tabletop, through the chicane, around the back of the high cam, and then back down the start straight, down past pit lane, but also they go through that chicane. So that work needs to be done right the way through that first part. But here's the highlights of MX2 race 1. The gate dropped and there was drama already as a couple of riders ran wide and went swimming. Tim Geiser, one of those in the sea, well, actually no, he stayed up, but it was Ben Watson on the Hitachi Revo KTM. His bike went for a swim, so too did he. And he would not rejoin the race, but Geiser was able to. Jeffrey Hurlings, though, by lap 1, turn 3, was already ahead of Alexander Tonkov. Jonas had this big crash as he got it wrong at the end of lap 2, lap 3. And he went back to the work area and he pulled in. This was a great pass from Julian Lieber. How he kept it up right through there. But Lieber eventually fought his way through to 7th place. Hurlings was clear at the head of the field, leaving the Kawasaki's of Tixier, Anstey and Ferrandis to argue for position. 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Ferrandis eventually coming home in 4th place as Anstey went after Jordi Tixier, number 1 in that battle for 2nd. Eventually it came around about the midway point of the race. An easy pass in the end for the number 99 Brit on the Monster Energy DRT Kawasaki. Anstey then clear track, started to pull clear from Jordi Tixier. who was happy to hold on to third. Ferrandis fourth. Alexander Tonkov at that point was just hanging on to fifth place. Brian Borgers had a great race himself, coming home in sixth, ahead of Julian Lieber, Petrov, Siwa and Van Donnick. But Jeffrey Hurlings, in a class of his own, just carved his way through the field. By the time the checkered flag fell, he was almost 43 seconds clear of Max Anstey and 58 seconds clear of Jordi Tixier, giving us all a riding lesson in how to ride sand at speed. The kid really is special in the sand. This kid here, though, Max Anstey, is no slouch in the sand, but Jeffrey Hurlings just a little bit more on it in that first race. But still a great ride for Max Anstey all the same. There was Tim Geiser just going through. He got lapped in the closing stages by Jeffrey Hurlings. And Jeremy Siwa, well, he'll be pleased with his ninth place. Brent Van Donnick also a top 10 ride for him in the sand here in Valkenswaard. Those two going right the way down to the checkered flag. Finishing about this far apart, actually, as well. Jens Getterman, he made a good start. He was running 6th or 7th in the early stages of the race, but the JTEC Honda rider eventually came in 12th. As Hurlings continue to push on the final lap at the head of the field. He rounded out the final turn. No hanging around here. Double, double, triple. He crossed the line to win by a nice comfortable margin of almost 43 seconds. But he didn't take the whole shot, though. The foxhole shot went to Alexander Tonkov, I believe. As he ran wide at the first turn, Hurlings was right there in it, though. So, Alexander Tonkov, congratulations to you, sir. And Rennie Satink on hand to deliver the black plate to Mr. Tonkov.
Sean Simpson, Sean, 5th place, but it could have been a lot better for you.
Yeah, definitely could have. I mean,
Tonkov then on 2 whole shot awards. Remember, it's 5,000 euros for the most whole shots over the season in MX2, 10,000 euros for the most whole shots in MXGP.
Little humpback bridge there, so looking to get the same sort of start today, stay out of trouble, put in some consistent laps, and don't think I'll be far away.
But at the start of the season, if you'd have said, yeah, I was following Tony and feeling comfortable, you'd take that any day, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, everyone knows I like him.
Well, before we catch up with all the action from MXGP Race 1, let's leave you with some of the finer moments, some of the action from MXGP Race 2. We'll be back in a minute with all the action from MXGP.
Na de operatie en ik ben al een paar dagen kunnen rijden. 2 dagen dat is een fiets te kort achter elkaar, maar ik denk volgende week in Duitsland.